Welcome back. In this video, we will look at a lesson on Python dictionaries, which is a data structure. Let's get cracking. So the objective is that students will create Python dictionaries with key value pairs. And that's really important. This idea of having a key, like a label, and a value is at the heart of what a dictionary is in Python. Okay, so they are often called items or pairs. I'll try to use items more than pairs, but I may use those interchangeably. And I like the analogy given in this Coursera course about Python data structures of a purse or a bag or a backpack with belongings. And before you put some belonging into the bag or the backpack, you can take a sticky note and write the label or the key of the thing on it. So for example, if I have my wallet and I want to put it in my backpack, before I put it into the backpack, I take a sticky note and I write wallet and slap it onto the wallet and throw it in the bag. And then I take something else. I take my sunglasses. I grab a sticky note and write sunglasses and stick the sticky note to the sunglasses and throw it in the bag. And so the analogy here is that the actual objects are the values and the sticky notes that have the label are the keys. And the way you get a value out of a dictionary is by asking for that key. Saying, here, I need my wallet. You say the key is wallet and I need the thing back, and you get the wallet back. So anyway, I like that analogy. Here's a video. I think it's a 9 or 10 minute video from Coursera, a Coursera course that I think is useful. I will point out that when this video that I'm pointing to here was recorded, Python dictionaries did not preserve order. When you put something in, you couldn't rely on it being in the same order. That has changed since that video was made, but it doesn't really matter because the order in which things are housed in a dictionary is not that important. The way you get a value out is by asking for the key. So it doesn't matter if the item is in the same order that it was put in or not. So in order to create a dictionary, you can do it one of two ways. You can use the function dict, D-I-C-T, like that, or you can use curly braces. Those are curly braces right there. Let me see if I can zoom in even more there so you can see that. Those are curly braces right there. Opening and closing curly braces. So you can create a dictionary in one of two ways there. I will probably use curly braces since there are fewer keystrokes than the second way. And there are several useful dictionary methods. Three, really the most useful I've found are these three. The .keys dictionary method is a way to look at all the keys in the dictionary. Now, once again, a method, let me stop there. The word method here is a function that is tied to an object. So in order to use this dictionary method, you first create a dictionary like we do above. For example, with a variable name equals open close curly braces. And so you create the variable name. Right here it's called dict_name. And to get all the keys out, you'd call dict_name dot keys open close parentheses. And that would return all the keys. And then that's very similarly, to get all the values out, you would call the dot values method on the dictionary name. And then to get both back, both the key and the value for each item, for all items, you can call the dot items dictionary method on the variable holding the dictionary. And this returns what's called a dict items object, which is very much like a list. And you can iterate over it like a list. And each element of that dict items object is a 2-item tuple. Now we haven't yet seen what tuples are, but they are simply another data structure that holds more than one thing. And it's 2-item because the first item is what was the key in the dictionary, and the second item is what was the value, the corresponding value in the dictionary. And you can add items to your existing dictionary this way. Here we have the variable holding the dictionary, and then in square brackets right next to the variable name, no space between the variable name and the square brackets here, you put in the key. It's often a string. It doesn't have to be a string. It can be really anything. These dictionary data structures are very versatile, but what we'll see in this class mostly is we'll have a string as the key, and then you have an equal sign, and then which is an assignment operator, and we're assigning some value to that specific key within this dictionary. And for us, the value will often be an integer, a number. Like we'll use dictionaries to count up words in files and genres. Okay. So that is how you use dictionaries. The textbook, chapter 11, has some good examples here. Let's take a look here. Chapter 11, dictionaries. A dictionary is a mapping, right, with the key value pairs called items. And here what they do, let me zoom in a bit here. Oops, let me zoom in. What they do here is they create a dictionary, empty dictionary called ENG to SP, so English to Spanish, and they're using the function to create this, the dict function to create this empty dictionary. And if you were to print it out, you would see these curly braces or squiggly brackets. And you can add a new entry or a new item to this dictionary by calling the dictionary name, square bracket, then giving the key, and then closing square bracket. Then the equal sign is the assignment operator, and then the value. So again, we're assigning this value uno in Spanish to the key 1 within this dictionary. Now, don't let it confuse you. You don't have, their example here is simply, between two human languages. But the dictionary Python data structure can be used for just many different things, not just translations like this, but that's their example here. And when you print it out, you get, so after they've added this entry or this item, 1 equals uno, if you print out the dictionary, then you'll see that. You'll see curly brace, the first key, a colon, and then the value that corresponds with that key. Okay, and you can obviously add more than one item. So here's one item, 1 colon uno, comma, separates the first item from the second item, 2 colon dos, comma, and then the third item as well. So that is a quick little rundown of dictionaries. I will just also point out that what they say here in the chapter, that order is preserved as of, I think it was Python 3.7. It is now preserved. But again, it doesn't really matter because the way you get a value out of a dictionary is by asking for a certain key. And so the internal order in which it keeps things doesn't really matter. I will point out that other languages have dictionaries, like, for example, Julia, the Julia programming language, has a dictionary data structure as well, and it does not preserve order. But again, it really doesn't matter because you pull values out with the key. Okay, so let's have you guys practice this. Practice 1 says, create an empty dictionary and then add words as keys and definitions of those words as values. Okay, so pause the video for a few minutes and give that a try. Ready, set, pause. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at how we can do this. Let me grab this bit of code. I'm already there. Got it. Let me zoom in so we can look at this. Okay. They have a squiggly line here, which is causing it hard to see the underline. Let me just get rid of that. I just want to get rid of the squiggly line. Why do I have a squiggly line here? Replace dictionary creation. No. Okay, so here on line 2, the squiggly line is making it hard to see the underline between the WD and the and the DEFS. But there's a squiggly line there, right? So it's a variable name. I'm calling it word and defs equals curly braces. And then here I add one word. The key is tall, and the value is a definition of tall that I just created. And then here's a second item that I'm putting into the dictionary. Smart is the key. Again, the way to do this is you give the variable that's holding the dictionary, square bracket, the key within square brackets right next to the variable name, no space, equals, and then your value. What I'm using here are strings. The data type of the key and the value are strings. But again, it's very versatile. You can have integers be keys or values. You can have like lists be keys or values. It's a very versatile data structure. more often, I can't think of an exception here. In this class, we'll simply see keys as strings, as words, and values as integers. There may be an exception, but we'll mostly just see that in a couple lessons. Okay, so I do that, and then we can print this out. Let me print out words and defs here. If I run the script, keyboard shortcut, down here, I have that. I have curly brace telling me it's a dictionary. Here's the first key, colon, and then here's the corresponding value that goes with that key. Tall, possesses more vertical inches than most guys or gals. Good. And then a comma separates one item from the next. So here's the second item's key, which is smart, and then a colon separates the key from the value. And then here's the value, possesses a higher IQ or simply takes tests well. How can you tell for sure? And then here's the comma that separates the second item from the next item, etc. Okay. So if you'd like to look at my code here, let me expose more of it so you can see. Let me back out a little bit. If you'd like to look at my code, you can, or you can look at my solution file in the LMS, the CMS. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's take a look at this. Iterate over the dictionary and print to screen the keys. Then iterate again, this time printing the values. And finally, print the key, a colon, and then the value. Okay, so you're going to be using these three things right up here, these three methods, basically in sequence of the sequences I say here. Okay, so try this exercise for a few minutes. Give it a shot. Ready, set, pause the video. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at this. And let me just grab all of this for fun. Copy it. Pull it over here. Okay, so the first, from lines 2 to 6 are the same as we just saw in the previous exercise. We're just simply creating a dictionary and populating it with 4 items. These 4 items on 3 through 6. Okay. And then on lines 9 and 10 is where we do the iteration over the dictionary and print to screen the keys. And so what I'm doing is I'm saying for some variable, I'm going to call it K for key, in, and then here's the dictionary name, and then the dot, and then keys. So again, this is called a dictionary method that you call right on the variable that's holding the dictionary, and then open close parentheses, then colon as the for loop requires, and then I just print out K because that's what's holding each key, right? So it's holding these things within it will hold these things within the square brackets right here. So let me run this keyboard shortcut. Let me expose this a bit more. So yeah, there they are. There are the keys down here in the bottom part of my console. Tall, smart, building quickly. Tall, smart, building quickly. There they are. So the only thing that we're doing here is we're just looping over this dictionary and we're calling the dot keys dictionary method on it, on the dictionary that's being held by this variable called word and defs, WD and defs. And then we just print out each key. So if you want to pause the video, make that work on your end, go ahead and pause now. Okay, next one here is iterate again, this time over the values. And as you may have guessed, this dictionary method up here called dot values will do the same thing. So all we need to change here is keys to values. And I'm going to go ahead and change this variable in the for loop just to keep it clear in my mind what this is. I'm going to change that variable to v to represent value. So for v in dictionary name dot values open close parentheses colon, print out the current value, right? Because we're going to iterate over each of these values. Now again, the values are what come on the right side of that equal sign in each of these lines of code. So we should see the definitions now. If I run the script, keyboard shortcut, ready, set, go. And there they are. There are the values that correspond to the keys in the dictionary. See? Possesses more vertical inches than most guys or gals is what we put up here, right there, for tall. And then the value for smart is possesses a higher IQ, etc. right there. Okay. So the only thing that's different from the previous exercise this time is we just replaced we just have values here, dot values on the dictionary name. So if you want to pause your video, go ahead and take a look at my lines 9 and 10. Those are the only things that have changed. Okay, the next thing says, now finally, print the key, a colon, and then the value. And we can do that with this dot items function. Like I mentioned in the lesson plan, the dot items dictionary method returns a 2-item tuple. Okay, and what I'm doing here, this looks a little weird. Maybe, I don't think I've shown this to you before, is you can actually specify more than one variable in a for loop head, like I do here on line 9. So I say for key, comma, v in the dictionary name, which I called word and defs dot items, open close parentheses, colon. So what's going to happen is that key is going to be stored or going to be held by the variable k, and the value of each item will be held by the variable v. Now, I purposely am using k and v to help you remember that, okay, k holds the key, v holds the value, right? And so what I do down here on 10 is I take the key and I string concatenate it with a colon and a space between quotes right there, and then I string concatenate that with the value. These are all strings, so I don't have to do any conversion with the str function. So now if I run it, keyboard shortcut, I should have the key, a colon, and a space, because I asked for it right there, and then the value. And then the next one. Key, smart, colon, space, and then the value. So that right there, if that's a little weird or wonky, you know what? Watch this. If we say, just give me one thing, I'm just going to call it, I'll just call it I for item, and just say, hey, print out item for me. Well, I print out I for me. So I is going to hold the whole tuple. Let me just run this script again, keyboard shortcut. And what has happened here is that it prints out a 2-item tuple between parentheses. The parentheses here signify a tuple. We'll see exactly what tuples are in more detail in the next lesson. But the idea is here that this was the key in the dictionary, and this was the corresponding value. And they're being held together by these parentheses, what's called a tuple. But we can kind of drill down into that tuple like we did a second ago. Up here, let me undo my changes to get back to the key and value idea. And so I'm drilling down and saying, hey, grab the first thing in this little tuple and call it the key, because it was the key in the dictionary. And grab the second thing and call it a v, because it was the value in the dictionary. If I run this again, keyboard shortcut, then I can treat each of those separately. I can treat k separately from v and do what I want with it. In this case, I simply wanted to print out the key plus a colon and a space and then the value. So anyway, that is a quick rundown of how to do that. If you want to look at my code here and really study this right here, and I'm using this dot items and what I'm doing down here, you can stop the video and look at my lines 9 and 10 if you like. Those are the only new things here. Okay, great. So that is a quick video on Python dictionaries. It's another data structure. At this point, students should be able to create Python dictionaries with key value pairs. All right, so as always, I'm super happy to help if you get stuck, or you can come into my office hour or that of my TA. All right, have a good day. See you next time.